If you like this video, please click on the like button. Comment with the names of the movies you would like us to cover next. Click the subscribe button and press the bell icon to get notified of our latest creations. We cover 100 movies from around the world every day. To advertise with our channel, reach out to us. Our contact information is on our channel page. Now, let's move to the plot of this movie.
Several years after the massacre at Fairlake, college students Rich Stoker and Hallie Smith are rock climbing in a remote forest of West Virginia. When Rich reaches the top of a cliff they are climbing, he is suddenly murdered before he can help Hallie up. Someone begins to yank Hallie up the cliff, forcing her to cut the rope and fall to the ground. She attempts to escape but is caught in a line of barbed wire and pulled back into the woods. Screaming, she is killed off-screen. Sometime later, medical student Chris Flynn drives through the mountains of West Virginia on his way to a business meeting. He stops at a gas station to ask directions, and the elderly owner named Maynard is of no help. Chris finds a map and decides to go down Bear Mountain Road. He collides with a stopped car whose tires have been punctured. The car belongs to a group of college students on a camping trip. Jesse, Carly, Scott, Evan and Francine. They soon discover their tire puncture was no accident and find barbed wire wrapped around it and realize someone did this intentionally. Evan and Francine stay to watch the cars while the others go to find help. Evan disappears after he hears something from the woods, and Francine finds his ear on the ground. As she backs away in horror, barbed wire is forced into her mouth by a mysterious figure, who garrots her with it. The remaining group find an isolated cabin and go inside to use the phone. Horrified to find human body parts in the house, they are forced to hide inside when the occupants return home. 3 cannibalistic inbred mountain men, 3 Finger, real name Andre, Sawtooth, real name Andu, and One Eye, real name Tudor, enter the cabin with Francine's corpse, and the hiding group watches her body is dismembered and eaten. After the cannibals fall asleep, the group attempts to escape, but their captors awaken and chase them in the forest. The group find cars left from previous victims and try to make up an escape plan. Chris gets shot in the leg while trying to distract the cannibals, and the girls take him to a truck, where Evan's body spills out. Scott attempts another diversion for the other 3 to escape but gets killed with arrows instead. Jesse, Carly, and Chris stumble upon an old watchtower with an old radio and try to call for help. The cannibals arrive and are alerted when the radio starts responding to the group's call. Unable to get inside, the attackers set the tower on fire. The protagonists escape by jumping out and into the trees, triggering a chase in which Carly is decapitated by 3 Finger. Chris pulls a branch while Jesse lures the attacker for the former to release it. Knocking him down, Jesse and Chris flee and hide in a cave until morning. The cannibals find them, pushing Chris down the hill, then kidnapping Jesse and taking her back to their cabin. Chris survives the fall and meets a police officer, but the officer is killed by Sawtooth, who shoots him in the eye with an arrow. Chris hitches a ride by holding onto the underside of the truck as Sawtooth drives it back to the cabin, where Jesse has been tied down to a bed in preparation to be eaten, and watches fearfully as the cannibals chop up the dead policeman. Before they can move on to Jesse, Chris sets the building on fire and drives the truck through the wall. He fights off the 3 cannibals and frees Jesse, and they escape as Chris kills the cannibals by blowing up the cabin. The pair then drive out of the forest in the cannibals' pickup truck and stumble upon Maynard's gas station nearby. Chris takes the map before he and Jesse leave. Quote, in a mid-credits scene, a deputy sheriff who had received the radio call earlier investigates the remains of the destroyed cabin. Laughing insanely. Three Finger, who survived the explosion, rises and kills the deputy. Single quote.